Hey, it's Dawn from Happy Home and Garden with John and Dawn, and today's very detailed video is going to cover two things. So no skipping, because you might miss something. The first thing is how to replace all the turn signal light bulbs in a Honda Element from regular light bulbs to LED light bulbs. And two, how to fix the Hyperflash issue when doing number one. No, not this number one, the number one I just spoke about. Jeez. It can actually be fixed with a very simple and easy to replace relay for like under 20 bucks. How cool is that? It's cheap. And the great part is there's no need for slicing and dicing of wires, no need for inline load resistors that can get really, really hot and melt plastic in your car and or cause a fire. That would be really bad. Ooh, and as a bonus, I found some really cool things on Amazon that I totally want to share. Check the description below for our affiliate links. We earn a little commission for everything in your cart, so definitely check that out. Because hey, it did take a lot of time editing this video. And there's some very funny bloopers in the end too, so check those out. So what is Hyperflash, also known as Hyperblink? Well, it's not running around in a trench coat acting like a crazy person and flashing your car. And it's not blinking like a deranged lunatic. It actually happens when you replace the turn signal light bulbs with LED light bulbs. And it blinks really fast, like this. Blink, blink, blink.
Hi, I'm an Element, and I have a blinking problem.
Where it's really supposed to look like this. Blink, blink, blink. You get the idea. Hyperflash happens because the computer sees a lower voltage from the new LED bulbs because the original bulbs had a higher voltage. And your car thinks,
Hey, I got a light bulb out. You gonna fix that?
So by replacing the relay, it tells the computer,
all systems are functioning within normal parameters, Captain.
First up is how to replace the rear turn signal lights. First, you're going to remove these two screws, the top one here from the light housing and the bottom one, and this is what the screws look like. The next thing you'll need is some sort of trim removal tool or some sort of thing that looks like a flat spatula. This one I like here. Now the first thing to know is that you're going to be going between these two parts here on the light housing when you put the tool in there. And then you just push and the light housing comes right off. You can also use this kind of flat spatula thing, that works too. Or you can also use a screwdriver with a little piece of tape on it and a cardboard so you don't scratch the car, and then pop it off like that. Now in the back of the light housing, it may look a little different depending on the year of the element that you have. And then you give the light bulb a twist, and then it comes right out. Now one thing to know about these LED light bulbs is that some of them are really big and they will fall out, but I have a trick that you can do to help prevent this from happening. First, you'll need something that looks like a dental pick. What we're going to do is going to bend the contacts inside of the light bulb socket. So as you can see here, you've got these metal contacts, and you want to take the pick and pull just a little bit underneath to kind of make that little piece just kind of jet out a little bit. What it's going to do is provide tension on the light bulb so it won't fall out. And it is recommended to use some dielectric grease inside of the light socket on the contacts to help prevent corrosion from happening in the future. Now the bulb model is a 7440 according to the specs. However, you can use a 7443. It also has a T20 base, and it is in an amber color. The other thing to do is to bend the prongs of the LED light bulb slightly out. This will help keep it snug inside of the light socket. Now when handling an LED light bulb, you don't necessarily need gloves. It is recommended for incandescent bulbs, but not necessarily LED bulbs. Now according to this article, this says why you shouldn't touch incandescent bulbs with your hands. Well, basically the oil that's on your fingers can cause a hot spot on the glass, and then when the incandescent light bulb heats up, it causes a weak spot. You can actually pause this if you want, but it causes a weak spot on the glass, which basically can make the bulb go bad. But LEDs are a little different. They produce light through electroluminescence rather than heat, so it's fine to touch them with bare hands. That being said, it's best not to handle them any more than absolutely needed to, so you probably want to wear gloves. So then you insert the new bulb, and then you're going to want to see these little tabs that are on each side of the light socket, and they're going to line up with the light bulb housing on each side. So you insert that, and give it a little twist, like that. And then put the light housing back on. I like to make sure that the little tabs are aligned properly. I give it a little bit of hip check when I'm done. Make sure that it's put in there properly. Put the little screws back on. Here we go. And then repeat on the other side. Next up are the front turn signal lights. Now they may be different locations depending on the year of your element. On the front driver's side of these years, grab the socket and turn the top of the socket towards the right-hand side of the car and then pull out. Now the socket may look a little different depending on the year of the element that you have. On mine it's the round base in the middle. Now to get the bulb out of this one, you push the bulb in and then you turn counterclockwise and then remove. In order to make better contact with the new light bulb, I did take the pick and pulled up on the little contacts on the bottom ever so gently and put some dielectric grease on the contacts. So these are the light bulbs that I chose. They're an 1157 model in an amber color. And if you have a different year other than this, you probably have either a 7443 or a 3457 in an amber color. Now the one thing about an 1157 bulb is the little tabs on each side of the bulb, one is higher than the other. And those correspond with the little groove that's inside of the bulb socket. One side is a little bit higher than the other as well. And you just have to line those up. And a little bit more dielectric grease. And then line up the pins, push it in, turn it to the right, and then give a little tug to make sure it's snug. Now on the back of the light socket there are 4 tabs, and one of them is fatter than the other. And that aligns with the top notch on the vehicle, which happens to be, as you're standing at the bumper looking at the car, it's the upper left-hand notch. And if you have a different year than mine, this may look like the left-hand or the right-hand picture. And then with the tab aligned properly, push the light bulb into the hole and turn it clockwise where the top of the socket turns towards the passenger side. Now for the passenger side, turn the top of the socket towards the right-hand side of the car and pull the bulb out. And then a little bit of dielectric grease in there. And then with the little pick, we pull up on the little tabs very gently. And a little bit more dielectric grease on the bulb. Here we go. Dab, dab, dab. And then push the bulb into the socket and then give it a clockwise turn. Now the big tab on this side of the car is in the bottom right-hand corner as you're standing at the bumper. Then align the tab with the hole, insert the bulb, and then turn the top of the socket to the left towards the passenger side. Now for the side marker light, this video includes the version on the right. If you have the upper left version, please check the description for a video link to change that one. And the video will also show you how to make it blink as well. First you'll need one of these trim removal tools. The end of the tool has a 3/8 of an inch tip, which is going to be very handy for what's coming up next. On the right hand side of the marker, inside of the marker light, there is this little thing that depresses, and this is what we're after when we're trying to take the marker light out. You push this in and then it'll pop up just a little bit. Now the left hand side of the marker also has one of these little things that depresses, and this is what we're after on the left hand side. Now it did take me a bit of fussing in order to try to get this thing out. Now I did eventually figure out that what I just needed to do was to pull it out on the right hand side and then shuffle it to the right and then kind of slide it out to the right. Then twist the bulb out of the housing, take the bulb out, and put a little bit more grease in there. Yeah, I love my grease, don't I? And this is the brand that I chose for the 194 T10 base light bulbs. Now it does ask for an amber light bulb, but I chose the white light bulb instead because I thought it was a little brighter. And it's good to choose bulbs that have lights on the tops of the heads because it is a light bulb that is facing outward. And then insert the bulb into the socket. Now this socket also has little tabs on it that have different sizes, and those fit into the back of the marker light housing. Just align them properly and then give it a twist to lock it in. And then insert the light housing into the hole with the point facing the front of the car and then push in place to set it in. And this section of the video is all about the flasher! And this is an EP34 electronic flasher, which is good for all the Honda elements. This is LED rated, unlike the original, which is not LED rated. This is sort of an overview of what it looks like, and this is the bottom. And these are the specs in case you want to pause the screen and take a look at them later. Now, I actually got this one at AutoZone because it did say that on the back it could be used for LED and regular light bulbs, so I'm not sure if the ones on Amazon do that as well. Now, they do recommend to take the negative lead off of the battery as a precaution, but I didn't do that and everything was fine, so that's up to you. And then crank the driver's seat back because you're going to need some room to get in there. And as a precaution, it's a good idea to take the key out of the ignition. Now, if you're wondering what this pink thing is on my key, I wanted a key cover and I could not find one. So I got one of these silicone remote covers. There's a couple different styles floating out there depending on where you look. And then I cut it along the line here shown on the screen, and then I used the bottom section to put on the key. I think it works out pretty great. I like it a lot. And I got this really cool Galaxy strap here to put on my key ring, and I can slip my hand through whenever I need to hold my keys. So next you'll need to remove this panel near the driver's seat area just by turning these little knobs and pulling on the panel. Now the only way I found myself fitting in this driver's seat area was to do this, what I call a downward facing dashboard yoga pose. I know it doesn't look very good, but hey, it worked. So behind that panel is this fuse box that's sort of peeking out here. Now we're after the flasher, which is located where you see here on the screen. Now this is the original OEM flasher. If you notice, there's two little tabs on each end. And these are the two little wings that are holding it in place inside the fuse panel. So the idea here is to move the little wings off of the tabs off of the flasher. However, this was not as easy as I thought it would be. At first I tried to use my fingers to get it out, but I'll tell you, after a lot of cursing and frustration, I decided to try something different.
You bugger.
So then I tried one of these trim removal tools. Now I don't recommend a metal screwdriver because it could slip and end up in the fuse panel, which is very bad, especially if you didn't remove the negative cable from the battery. So I wedged the removal tool between the wing and the little tab on the flasher at the top, and then I used my fingers to get the one on the bottom off. And then it came off.
I got it. Oh.
Now the original flasher had 2 tabs, but the new flasher only has 1, and that tab is going to be facing the bottom of the floor. So when you put it in, you face it towards the bottom. And then be sure that the bottom wing clips over the bottom tab of the flasher. And then I gave it a little bit of a push to make sure it was seated properly, and it was done! Yay! And then you put the panel on, like so, and then you twist the little knobby things, and then you're done. Oh, and yeah, you should probably test to make sure that it works, which as you can see here, it blinks properly, and you should probably check your lights around your car as well to make sure they work. And then you can put on a silly lobster hat and dance around like a crazy person saying you fixed it.
I fixed it.
And if you're looking to treat yourself with some fun accessories like I did, this is a license plate cover with a little bit of bling bling on it. These aluminum valve stem caps add a nice little pop of color, and they have plastic inside so it doesn't corrode and get stuck to the valve stem. I've had these for about 3 years now. They're a little bit faded, but they're still holding up pretty well. And I installed these really cool purple LED lights on the interior of the car. It kind of looks like a cool dark room at night. It's really cool. And after trying a few brands, I finally found one that didn't buzz when I opened up the door, which was great. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy the funny bloopers.
It's part of the video. I'm not a crazy neighbor. My neighbor's looking at me funny. Because I'm in my driveway being all weird.